Okay, so get this, right? Like, imagine a leaky pipe just dripping away. And it takes, what, 3 days maybe to get fixed?
Yeah, pretty standard.
Okay, but now, imagine that same leak, same problem, but this time it sits there for 15 years. Unthinkable,
Yeah,
right?
that's a disaster waiting to happen.
But that's the reality of water access in Mexico City.
Right.
We're going to deep dive into the crazy world of water inequality in this megacity right here, right now.
Absolutely. Gonna unpack it all.
We've got some excerpts, by the way, from this sociologist, Alejandro de Cos, who lives and works in Mexico City. And full disclosure, the guy's seen it all firsthand.
Yeah, and DeCasa's research is particularly interesting because he didn't just like observe from afar, you know?
Right.
He actually embedded himself with city repair crews to like really get down in the trenches, understand the nuts and bolts of the situation.
It's wild. I mean, that's dedication. And speaking of those repair crews, right, DeCoste tells this story about two leaky pipes. One in the, like, super swanky Palmas and Periferico neighborhood.
Oh, yeah, I remember that.
Yeah. And like I said, fixed, boom, 3 days, tops. Then there's the other one, right? In a poor neighborhood near Santa Fe, leaking for 15 years. Can you believe that?
It's insane. Makes you really question, like, what's driving those wildly different response times?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, it's pretty obvious that wealth plays a big role here. Like, let's be real, wealthier residents, they can just, what, buy bottled water, no biggie.
Right, exactly. Just bypass the whole system.
Or even, like, install private wells, right? They can tap into those underground aquifers.
Yeah, those wells, though, they can cost thousands of dollars. Easy.
Absolutely. A luxury most people just can't afford.
No, totally out of reach for many people.
But hold on, because DeCos uncovers something even wilder, right? Illegal connections, straight up siphoning water from the Lerma aqueduct.
No way, that's bold.
Yeah, right? And this is happening in the Santa Fe corporate district, of all places.
Wow.
He even mentions, like, these real estate developers straight up bribing officials to get away with it. How did they even manage to pull that off?
Well, it all boils down to power and influence, sadly. Developers, especially those with deep pockets, they can basically buy their way into the system, right?
It's like they're playing by a different set of rules.
Exactly. Completely bypassing regulations, siphoning off resources for their own projects. And who ends up footing the bill?
The people who can least afford it.
You got it. Poorer communities stuck with inadequate infrastructure, barely any power to change the situation.
It's a vicious cycle. And it
Yeah.
makes you think, this kind of inequality, it's not just a Mexico City thing, right? Have you ever, like, noticed something similar, even on a smaller scale, maybe where you live?
Yeah, I'm sure we all have. Think about it. Maybe it's like a park in a wealthy neighborhood that's, always pristine, perfectly maintained.
Right.
And then there's the one in a, let's say, less affluent area that's kind of, neglected. It's everywhere if you start looking.
Totally. I never thought about it like that, but yeah, we've probably all seen those subtle differences. It's just, like, baked into the system. So, big question. What happens if this keeps up in Mexico City?
Well, DeCas titled his article, Water in Mexico City, The Ecological Crisis of Tomorrow.
Yeah, not exactly painting a rosy picture, is he?
Not at all, no. This unequal access to water, it can, like, ignite social unrest, fuel health crises. And it just, like, makes those existing inequalities so much worse. It's a powder keg.
It's scary to think about, like, a future where people are literally fighting over a glass of water.
Oh, absolutely. It's
Yeah.
not even just about the environment at that point.
It's about survival.
Yeah, it's about social stability.
DeCas, he focused on Mexico City, but I feel like this is, what, a global issue, right? I mean, all these major cities around the world, they're grappling with these water shortages.
Absolutely. It's a growing concern.
Are they dealing with these same, like, power dynamics?
I think it's safe to say, yeah, they're probably facing similar challenges.
Makes you wonder, how does wealth actually shape access to this, like, fundamental resource water, right?
It's a question worth asking, for sure.
Everywhere, not just in Mexico City. It really gets you thinking.
Definitely something to ponder.
Food for thought.
Absolutely.